Welcome back to Talking Dragon Age, the show where I talk about Dragon Age. Today we're once again talking about romances. This is going to be less formal than my other episode on romances. Let me start here with some new perspective I have on the romances I mentioned I wanted in the previous episode. For whatever reason, it didn't occur to me to mention that they don't also have to be companions. In Inquisition we had advisors, and in Mass Effect Andromeda we had the people on your ship, like the mechanic and the science officer. There were also some mini-romances on the side, but they weren't nearly as fleshed out. Though Reyes on Kadara had a fair amount too. Anyway, my point is that some of the ones I mentioned definitely lend themselves to romances as companions, but others may be better served as an equivalent to advisors or shipmates, like, say, a personal blacksmith, librarian, magical researcher, or a scout? So, Harding, right? See, she and Krem both quickly became fan favorites. It seems very likely to me that she will at least be a companion in the next game, if not also a romance option. That will kind of make up for it, but I'm still frustrated she wasn't a legitimate romance option in Inquisition, because she's adorable and awesome and, well, let's look at this. Male Lavellan, 4 romance options. Female Lavellan, 6. And while obviously not for everyone, I'll also cut Bull and Dorian because adorable. And maybe Sarah as well because of Whittle, but that's not nearly as fleshed out. Anyway, while I do feel cheated by my male romance options being significantly less than female, even including the others, I will say I do appreciate the diversity. I'm also glad we got a Qunari romance option, but I definitely would have liked another elf. And where the hell is my dwarf romance option? Oh, there she is! Except no, not really. Now, I want to take a moment and talk about something weird that bothers me, and this doesn't strictly have to do with romances, but why is everyone in Thedas perfectly shaved clean? Authenticity is very important to me. I have a really hard time believing that most of Thedas gives a damn about it. Maybe the nobility, but not most people. And besides, it's like they wax every morning just in case. The only way I can see this making sense is if there's some kind of Circle-sponsored, Mage-run salon that'll remove all your body hair. Never mind the fact that that is incredibly unhealthy, it's also horrible business practice. You want people to keep coming back. The only way you're going to make a profit is if you charge outrageous sums for it. Which, again, is something I don't believe most people would care enough about to do, and even if they did, they probably couldn't afford it. Now, elves don't grow beards, so I'll cut them some slack and assume maybe they have less hair elsewhere. But humans, and especially dwarves, I don't think so. This bothers me a lot more than it should. Like I said, authenticity is very important to me. Now, I want to take some time and talk about the role of romances in the games. Personally, the games never feel complete if I don't romance anyone. And that's just me, because I'm a hopeless romantic, but yeah. Headcanon is also an option, I guess. But not seeing it in-game kind of makes my headcanon feel invalidated. For things like romances, I mean, obviously not for everything. But I do really love romances in Bioware games because they further engage you in the story. Particularly with characters like Alistair and Solas, where their stories are entwined with the main plot. And so adding love into that is like whipped cream on a sundae. And then there's some like Blackwall, where the characters have their own personal arc, and a romance becomes that much more intriguing. And then there are characters like Liliana in Origins or Cullen in Inquisition, just as examples, that further add weight to your character, the world, and the stakes of the main plot. Now, some romances are more fleshed out than others, and that does bother me, even if I don't personally engage in a romance. Because I know others do, and I feel like they get the short end of the stick, kind of like how male characters did in Inquisition. And I think that's about it. So, to recap, I'm upset that Scout Harding wasn't a legitimate romance option, but if she's romanceable in the next game, that will make up for it. Also, I like the diversity of Inquisition's gender and race-gated romances, and the diversity of options themselves, even if males did get the short end of the stick. So I think that's it for now, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember, Tala Nadas.